Well, good morning. This is the podcast that drinks and knows things. I'm your host, Ben. Today's episode is Not All Heroes Wear Capes. We're recording this on January 1st of 2019. Happy New Year's, everybody. Talking about Season 6, Episode 5, The Door. Make sure you listen to the Drinks and Knows podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find and support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everyone benefits. So, first of all, like I said, I'm Ben. Today I am drinking some sparkling grape juice from Welch's, as well as a couple shock top beers I got down below. They're trying to work over a little hangover here. Joining me is, as always, Luke. Luke on, what's going on?
Hey, that's me. I'm not
What are you
hungover at
drinking?
all. It wasn't up till 4 in the morning. I feel great. But I'm about to open up a Belgian Abbey-style ale from Cathedral Square Brewery Divine Beer.
Nice. And Glenn of House Dog.
What's up?
How you doing, bud?
I am doing all right. I got a coffee with me. I got a Rod's Cream Ale from your Public House Brewing Companies. Let's get at it, I guess.
Excellent. And unfortunately, our first-time watcher, Abby, hasn't been able to join us yet. She
MIA.
might be able to join in later. We'll have to see.
If anyone has an extra light bulb for the Gertie signal, we need to start shining that thing again.
Distress signal.
Like the bat signal.
So this show and all of our shows at thepodcastguy.com are produced with love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. Luke, you got a previous episode recap?
Sure. So that was Book of the Stranger. Our guest was LML, and there were a lot of things that happened. We're at Castle Black for a little bit, where we have some John and Sansa bickering back and forth, kind of working through some things, coming up with a new plan. We then also had some Davos and Mel stuff, which was neat. They chit chat a bit. We go to the Eyrie, where we see Robin trying to shoot an arrow. Pretty sad state. And Royce kind of gets micro-fingered up the butt. Marine. We've got Tyrion meets with the Wise Masters and Grey Worm and Missandei. We're not huge fans of the deal that he's coming up with. Vase Dothrak. We've got Jorah and Dari 2.0. Oh my god. Scrolling in there and going to try to save Dany. And Dany's kind of taking her own fate in her own hands with the Dash Colleen. In King's Landing, we've got Marjorie and Septon Umbrella, High Sparrow. They're kind of working their magic together, or not. And we have the McLannisters forming a new kind of alliance with the Tyrells to come up with a new situation. Pike, we have a bit of a King's moot. Oh no, we don't have that. We have
No, I was gonna say that one.
we have Theon comes home and talks to Yara. It was kind of a quick scene there. Winterfell, we've got Ramsay and Osha makes her last attempt, saving grace.
Or you could say, oh, shit.
Osha. Oh my God, Sha. And then we finished off in Vase Dothrak, where we burned dem calls.
Also, we had Gumby in
And
studio.
don't forget, Gumby was here.
Did.
He's
Make sure you
still
go
over
back
there.
and
Christmas Gumby.
watch that
Christmas.
live stream.
Yeah.
All right. So today we are talking about, as I said, season 6, episode 5. The episode was 57 minutes long. It first aired on May 22nd, 2016, directed by Jack Bender and written by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Glenn, how about you go with that episode description?
Tyrion seeks a strange ally. Bran learns a great deal. Brienne goes on a mission. Arya is given a chance to prove herself.
We shall see. So, we're going to do some Quill and Tankard Pub trivia.
Trivia. Woo, 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 woo.
So, because I had to come up with a quick question off the fly, I apologize now for this question. However, who was nominated for an Emmy Award for this episode?
Stupid. You can't do question. It doesn't happen on screen. Dumb question. I'll come up with a question.
Fine, come up with one.
Good grief.
Take a guess.
Jack Bender.
Was it Jack Bender?
It was Jack Bender.
Okay.
Give me the points.
Bad question. Really
It was
bad.
not a bad question.
It is. It doesn't happen on
It
screen,
was a
so
good
it's an
question
awful
because
question.
I knew the question.
Has to be
I
on the
knew
screen.
Jack Bender.
Okay, so whenever Varys is talking to Grey Worm, kind of the beginning of their scene, how long has it been since since the deal was made with the Wise Masters? I should say.
Stupid question. I'll come up with a question. How long has it been since?
Since Tyrion, basically since last episode, since Tyrion made the deal with the Wise Masters.
All right.
Got your answers?
Yeah.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right. Go ahead and hit enter. We'll wait for Abby's answer. Got an answer of 2 years. Got an answer of 1 month. It was 2 weeks. It was a fortnight. So there's that.
In
And,
2 weeks.
We'll give Abby the chance to answer that as well if she shows up. So there we go.
I think I might have put 2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah, it probably auto-corrected from weeks to years. That's probably what
that's
it was.
what happened.
So, all right, we're going to get into the episode recap. Opening, same as it's been. We got Peter Dinklage, lead name, King's Landing, Pike, Winterfell, Wall, Bravos, and Marine. So we're going to start at Castle Black. We have Sansa, Brienne, Microfinger, and Pod. Sansa receives word from her own little bird and confronts him in his natural habitat. Glenn?
Yeah, so I found it interesting that Molestown's, kind of the meetup spot. Do you think it's good strategy by Microfinger, as it appears to be deserted, or is it suggesting something? It's like somebody that you're crushing on pretty hard. You invite them over to watch a movie
In a motel
and
room.
then you rent a porno and just hoping that they would be into that kind of thing.
Backdoor Scudder Sluts 3. I hate this film.
Just
This film.
throwing up a Hail Mary. If it works, you look like a genius. If it doesn't, you look like a complete jackass.
But you know what? You took your shot. That's ridiculous.
Is that not?
I've never tried that attempt. I don't. I mean, all for. I mean, go for it. That is what I agree that. Hey, let's go meet in basically Brothel Town in the north, and
that's what he knows is brothels.
yeah, he's in his
He's got the hookups.
he's in his favorite environment. He gets a bonus on dex saves in D&D.
Go ahead.
I like how she just calls him out on all of his bullshit here, or potentially not bullshit. She doesn't really care at this point. She's like, either you fucking knew and you're a fucking monster, or you didn't know and you're not as smart as you played up to be. And either way, I don't believe you anymore. I don't need you anymore, because she's grown and she's been through a lot of shit. And I know we've talked a lot about that. Didn't need to happen. Either way, it did, and the character growth is rearing its head with a vengeance.
Exactly. She got the line, "You freed me from the monsters who murdered my family and gave me to other monsters who murdered my family." I'm not so, like you said, I'm not so dumb anymore. It's questionable, though, that she lets him leave. Is that the wisest move? You're giving him another chance to do whatever he wants. I get it I get the mentality, but it's one of those of, yeah.
Well, she still
You're not-
believes in justice. She doesn't know that he absolutely set her up for it. She doesn't
True.
know whether or not
He's a complete snake.
he just might be not as powerful as he leads on.
That's true. No, that's
So
fair. It's just
she has
it's
to
one
be
of
Ned
those.
Stark about it a bit, and
Yeah.
Keep your enemies closer, though.
So we're gonna go on to our next scene at Castle Black. We got John, Davos, Brienne, Sansa, Tormund, and Ed. This is coming towards the very end of the episode. The crew makes plans on gaining men. Sansa sends Brienne to Riverrun for help, and Ed takes command of the Wall. I'm gonna start this one. I don't mind John. He's a bit brooding, but I guess that's understandable. I love
all
that line
things
from
considered.
Brienne. Yeah, all things considered, it makes sense. Yeah, so it was just kind of a funny line from Brienne that we don't normally get. Glenn.
Yeah, so Davos says, I may not know the North, but I know men. Just, it's kind of like, it's always like a kind of a standoff whenever somebody from the North is talking to somebody else not from the North. And it's just like, well, the North is different here.
It's like
People
they
are different.
always hang their head on. It's just different, okay? Like,
But at the same time, I just kind of agree with Davos here because, like, he's just kind of like, well, we're not going to get certain houses because Rob or somebody did something to someone, beheaded someone here or there, and they're not coming back. So it's just because it's a Stark, it probably doesn't mean anything if a Stark beheaded your head of the household or whatever.
yeah, your liege lord. Yeah, and I think they both make really good points. Like, I think Sansa's definitely right that, the Karstarks did what they did, the Umbers did what they did, not knowing, that there was another option, and or vice versa. I think that was correct. But it comes down to kind of what you're getting at, Glenn, of maybe the Northerners are a little different. They hold things truer a bit. I don't know. I think they both make a really good series of points.
It's kind of like a yin and the yang, but if they kind of mix them together, it could work. But otherwise, like, if they try to be separate about it, then it's not going to work.
Right, and that's where my real point is. I think John does a really good job listening to both sides. He kind of pulls a Tywin here. He sits back and listens to, the two that are providing insight here, and they both make good points, and hopefully he's going to take kind of a middle ground, a blend of those different options, and it's just good leadership skills. John...
Way to go. Way to go.
And there's
All right,
Tormund making eyes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Make great babies.
And then, so one last thing on that
go ahead.
scene is Sansa lying about the information that she got from Microfinger. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, my note kind of went into Brienne as well. She brings up a good point about her not trusting John with the truth. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least at this point. Why she wouldn't try to say, hey, yeah, I have this army behind me that, I can put to use. So it's one that, definitely kind of stilled even now watching it. It's like, why would you just not use that? You gotta, I know you don't want to be indebted to Littlefinger, to Microfinger, but at the same time, you have John now to keep him in check.
Well, I think it's almost she doesn't want to show that she has her own
quickly.
contacts,
Yeah.
and John might not trust it coming from Littlefinger. He might not know a whole lot about Microfinger in general, but if he knows anything, it's not going to be glowing reviews. And Sansa feels like she has her finger on the button with him, and she doesn't necessarily want John to maybe get involved and take it away from her. If he's just like, no, that is not an option. Like, don't even consider it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, she probably doesn't trust him all the way right now,
Mhm.
being that, he sold her out and stuff like that. Maybe it's just she doesn't want to play that card yet.
Right. But I definitely think it's interesting that she lies about it, I guess. It's
Just making up something that's gonna dig a bigger hole probably.
Yep. That's all lies do, is pull more dirt out of the hole.
Right. All right. So now we got a long scene that I boiled down into one section here. Arya, Waif, Jaqen Hagar, Lady Crane, Bobano, and the theater troupe. We're in Bravos now. No one continues their training and is given a new name. So this whole scene is basically, we get the montage, the fighting montage.
Even Arya had a montage.
Montage.
Even Rocky had a montage.
We get that, and then Arya gets a new name of Lady Crane, who is in a theater troupe performing, and she finds out that she might not be that bad of a target.
But she might actually be Count Olaf in an
She
actress
might be.
troupe. Who knows?
Which season 3 just premiered today.
Did it?
Yeah, we were watching it earlier. So
Nice.
and we just got a note
Hmm?
here. We got a note from our co-host.
Oh.
Yeah, and she,
Well, she might be joining us here soon.
yeah. All right. So, Luke, what's your thoughts on this scene?
Yeah, so as we kind of progress through, Arya starts seeing that being an assassin might not necessarily be about good versus evil. It's not, oh, did this person really deserve it? Because she sees, yeah, Lady Crane, solid actress, seems just kind of like a nice lady, like, just kind of a normal ass person.
She's got a rum.
And a normal regular person. She's got a rum drink, which is cool. She's got a dwarf named Babono.
Whiskey drink.
So it's kind of, I don't know if she's really surprised by it, but she, at the final part of the scene, she's, just says, she's called out, like, is this going to be a problem? And she's like, no, I've already made my decision, kind of thing. And that's kind of where the scene ends. But it's interesting to see her kind of watching along with the play. And Glenn, you want to talk about the play a bit?
Talk about the play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it basically seems like it's a lame version of us. But
I know him. I know him.
like the play, basically has all your characters of, basically the kingdom, King, Big Bobby B,
your caricatures,
Ned Stark, and the whole gang, and like Arya, it seems like she finds the play humorous because they're kind of making fun of everybody and stuff like that. But it kind of takes a turn once Ned Stark comes in and they just kind of shit on him and the family name, and then you see her, like, her emotion just change, where it's just like, okay, this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was there. She saw some of these things, and it's like, okay, this is playful and funny and whatever. It's kind of harmless, and then
fart jokes and
slapstick, and then it completely turns on her without her realizing it, and eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's kind of an unspoken social commentary. Doesn't matter what the truth actually is. It's the history is written by whoever wants to write it or whoever is allowed to tell the story. So that's the thing. Everybody in Bravos now is going to think, maybe not the comical sides of it. They can probably read that, but they're going to think that Ned tried to actually usurp the throne with the help of Tyrion and all that. And because that's what's written down, that's what's the history is showing, at least. And it's just kind of one of those. I like that turn of how the media can, affect even in old times like that.
Well, that's like the old, he who controls the past controls the future. And so basically, if you're writing the stories, you get to kind of dictate where things are going. And this kind of, I think, goes to show like the work Varys was probably doing when he was working still with the Lannisters, at spreading the story out across the narrowest of seas, hashtag narrow sea. Couldn't be here today, but with us in spirit as always.
He's on his way.
He's
crossing the narrow sea.
He's crossing the narrow sea. But it just kind of shows how dangerous information is. Exactly what you were getting at, Benj, and that's interesting.
I got a quick point. This is just like another test, I think, for Arya trying to become no one, because this is like a huge part where, she's been training and training and training, trying to basically forget that her family name and stuff like that. But here comes this play
blazing into her life.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, Jacques and Agar, set all this play up just to...
He's doing all the stage management. He's the stage hands. He's doing the lighting.
He's just all these characters.
That's awesome.
Well, it looks like we have a new face on the panel. Or an old face. Hi, Ab.
Or not.
We have a
Why not?
face.
There's a face.
Maybe not be able to hear us yet.
At least got
Or at least she can't talk back yet.
Yeah.
She just reset up her studio again the other day.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey!
Hey!
Oh,
Hey.
happy birthday again yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Happy
you. Thank
birthday.
you. Hi.
So, Abby, what
I
do you think of
realize
this whole
now-
episode?
I realize now you said 12 your time, and in my head I said 12. Okay, cool.
You
At
always
1.
just yeah.
So
You're
my
bad.
apologies. Yeah, I was getting on to be like, hey guys, don't worry. I remembered you in 20 minutes. And then I was like, oh boy.
Well, we're glad you can make it.
I'm here.
We're not too far into it, but we will,
Perfect.
as always. What are you drinking?
Nothing right
Nothing?
now because I just ran
Not
up here
not
to
a
get on.
problem. So,
Yep.
are you ready for your trivia question?
Sure.
Okay, so when Varys is talking to Grey Worm, how
Yes.
long has it been since Tyrion made the deal with the Wise Masters?
Mm. Seven days?
2
A week?
weeks, a fortnight.
weeks?
2 weeks
A
notice.
fortnight. Shoot.
Yeah, they talk about how many people have been killed,
Yeah.
and it's like 0, except for like 2 the day of. So that's okay.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. We did talk about the Castle Black stuff. Real quick, we'll get your thoughts on it. Sansa, Brienne, Microfinger, and Sansa confronts Microfinger in Molestown. Any thoughts on that part?
I mean, other than she has like vicious hate towards him, but doesn't have him cut down right there, it's a smart move, which it makes Sansa more and more dangerous as we go along.
Calculated.
What?
Calculating.
Yes.
She's choosing
sure.
to not kill him.
Yes, like it's a smart choice, and she knows it. Like she may need him or whatever. So, I did like I had some remorse. Like there was a face that he makes at one point that I'm like, I kind of believe that he almost feels bad, but it's Microfinger, so I don't really know.
Show story.
So I don't really know if I believe him or not, but there's a face that's convincing. I'll give him that. It's convincing of, oh, the horror. So we'll see. Yeah, not necessarily that one.
All right. Then the next part was John, Davos, Brienne, Sansa, Tormund, Ed. Basically, Sansa and Brienne talk about Microfinger and John, and John's leaving to go south and talking with Davos and all that whole thing towards the end of the episode.
So is this where specifically like Brienne tells Sansa like I don't want to leave you here or something, and she's like, if you go and ride
Down to River
like
Run.
I'll be safe with
I'll be safe
my
with John.
brother.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was a little confused because then they all left. So is Brienne like splitting off at some point, or
It's
did
kind of like
she
one of
con-
those you say
I-
goodbye to your friend and then you end up walking the same way down the street for like another mile and you're like, well, this was
Okay.
awkward.
Okay, is that that's kind of how I felt like it was kind of awkward because we just had this big conversation about like I don't trust them, especially that big one or whatever she calls Tormund, which it's really funny. But I'm like, but they just left together. So who won? Like I don't know who or where they're going, I guess. So it was a little confusing to me.
Well, in fairness, there's kind of only one way to go. So
I thought that she was staying at Castle Black though.
I got you.
And then they left, and I'm like, wait, I thought you were staying and she was going, and now everybody's going.
It's an all
Okay.
go.
Yeah, fine.
So, all right, the next one was in Bravos. We had Arya, Waif, Jaqen, and then the play, all the people in the troop, that whole thing.
Okay, so again, sorry, I don't even have my Google. Is this at the point where Waif says like you'll never be one of us?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's kind of
And
towards the
Jaqen
beginning. And she
says-
kicks her ass.
Jaqen says she has a point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't like. I feel like Jaqen is all knowing. Why is he keeping her there? He already knows whatever's gonna happen with Arya. like I feel like he has this like premonition, or he has like the Lord of the, not necessarily the Lord of Light, I get that, but how they feel like have these like visions or whatever. He's keeping her around even though he doesn't believe she'll ever be a faceless man. So like what's the point? What is he training her for? Very lost.
Fair.
And
Very fair.
very fair. Okay. And then like the play, that sucks to have to watch. Like for Arya.
What was your favorite part of the play?
You know, probably Cersei. She's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I know Luke's favorite part.
Yeah.
You want to explain that,
Do
Luke?
you have a screen?
There's
cap
no
of that?
screenshot of it.
Is it
No
not
screen.
safe? It's a
It
good
is
one.
Not safe for YouTube.
Get out little emojis. It'll be fine.
Yeah, Glad draw it on the whiteboard over there.
Okay.
No, don't.
I will.
I know you will. Don't worry about it. I think everyone can imagine. But yeah, so then this kind of all wraps up with Arya kind of going. Well, here's the wart scene. That's Glenn's favorite part.
Oh, that was your favorite part. There's the rum drink.
There's the rum drink that is Glenn's
rum
second favorite part. And so Arya's kind of getting this kind of insight into the people that are here.
Yeah, looking at warts on dicks and
You get to know a
rum
guy.
drinks and-
You really get to know a guy through his warts. But Abby, what do you think of the way Arya's kind of like analyzing the situation here? Because she goes back after this and kind of is talking to Jaqen, and she's like, "Well, who paid the price for Lady Crane to be killed?" Because she's like kind of cool, like she's
right.
all
She's
right.
like halfway decent person.
cool cat,
And
a cool crane,
a cool crane.
whooping.
yeah,
crane.
she's definitely observant and from the best of my knowledge, guesses correctly about who has paid for her death, which leads me to whole other questions like how do you just go pay for somebody's death? Like, and
With
what are
money.
but what are you paying into? So they can build bigger caves for their face masks? Like I don't whatever.
That death
So-
potion is not cheap, Ab.
it's not cheap. Okay, so you're right, but sometimes it doesn't kill people, so that's it's not 100 proof.
Yeah, and they got to feed at least 3 people right now.
Right. So yeah, I'm not really sure.
What about the staff, Abby? Think about the staff.
Yeah, the support staff, guys that wash the floors. Oh wait, that's just Arya. So yeah. I don't know.
And she had to pay. She had to lose all of her things to stay. So like,
Yeah, she's not even getting a wage. She's nobody. Does she get to eat? Who knows?
I don't know.
I'm here to pick up my paycheck. You're not in the system. Nobody by that name.
So-
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. I don't even work here. I know that's the hardest part.
So this isn't really anything that's ever confirmed, but there are theories out there of like the cost for the faceless men isn't necessarily like a certain price. It's more of like a percentage of everything you own kind of thing. So like, hey, if I have $10, I'm going to give 70% of that to have this done to show that like, hey, this is something that means a lot. Or if you're
Okay.
very, very rich, it becomes much, much more expensive,
Right.
ratioed up. There's no confirming on that, but there are thoughts on that. So that even the meanest of people, the lowest of waged people can still potentially have this as an option.
Or
Yeah, 'cause
it's
it was
not
started
nothing.
it was started off by slaves
Mhm.
who basically gave everything they had to get themselves free.
Okay.
Yeah, a true sacrifice. Thank you, Jake.
But is there
Labor
any type
laws.
of like warranted like
Labor laws.
this? I understand that like morality to it, I guess, or is there any type of criteria other than you are willing to give me a 70 or whatever the dollar amount? We don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's if you're willing to make that sacrifice, then
They're
Then-
gone.
yeah, it's worthy.
That's crazy.
It's not about
So-
good and evil. It's about the sacrifice that you're making.
Exactly. So, anything else on Bravos from anybody? All right, so we're going to move on up to the Weirwood Caverns. We have Bran, the three-eyed raven, Leaf, children of the forest, and some blonde dude. Bran learns who created the Night's King. Abby, let's start with you.
Yeah, this is exciting. So we see that the children of the forest, actually that one girl, Leaf, she does it, doesn't she? That's how it appears. Like
Yeah,
she
Leaf is the,
the
one
same,
that
the same Leaf.
plunges the dagger.
Yes. So, and I also like this is crazy because they created them. Did they like lose control of them? Or did they never have like was this just a bad plan from the start?
Really,
We-
really good question.
And then also so Bran's in the vision like watching this happen, but when he comes back to real time,
Reality.
yeah, what we'll call it,
There
maybe
goes
it's
the
reality. Do we really know?
Mom's
But
spaghetti.
she looks like she to me it seems like she knows exactly what he's seeing in his vision right there.
Mm-hmm.
How? The rest of the people have always just kind of been on the outside, but I mean, and they have a direct conversation afterwards that doesn't seem like she needs much. Oh, hey, by the way, I saw you doing this at this time. Like,
Well, because when he comes out, he says, "You did it." And,
yeah.
And she's like, and so she's like, "Okay, yeah, I was there, so
I
I
admit
know."
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
It got
seemed
me.
like she just knew I don't know.
I can see that, Ab. Like
It came
and
across.
I don't know that you're wrong. You know, I think it's something along the lines of what you're getting at, but it's more speculation than anything. We don't know.
Right.
But the children of the forest likely or potentially have an innate connection into the Weirwood net also. So
Right.
they're kind of, ever present beings.
Right.
And so they're very strongly tied into the whole old gods, Weirwood trees situation. So I think there's a good opportunity, a good option that what you're saying is true.
Or she just maybe looked at the Three-Eyed Raven's curriculum. and was like,
This was
"Oh,
on the agenda
they're
today.
They're going to be on chapter
was on the
13
syllabus.
on this day. The syllabi.
Okay,
Either way.
never mind. I think Glenn's right. I've completely
Right.
changed my opinion.
Week 7, they're going to be on chapter 13.
Ooh, good one.
This is,
All right, I'll be
big one,
ready.
yeah.
Yeah. So my note to this is now that's an ouchie. And that's what we call the nuclear option. We're going scorched earth on this motherfucker. It's like Leaf. Yeah, we understand you were kind of losing the war, but really, you're gonna go all out on it. Okay, guess we see where your loyalties lie.
Mm-hmm. And so it's really like you're saying. You're creating this incredibly powerful weapon, which sure, in the moment, is probably going to help you out. In the long term, it probably creates a lot more issues, and it's very much like how the nuclear bomb was, created, and like Oppenheimer ended up like trying to almost sabotage or just like regretting it over time. It's like, oh, I probably should not have done this.
Whoops.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Or Tony Stark.
Oh,
I'm going to stop selling weapons to everybody.
Right. Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, so we get kind of another spiral sighting here
spiral staircase.
around the tree, and I just kind of thought that was cool that we've seen this a few times now, and again, complete show fabrication, but I like it. It shows, hey, there are some connections here with like the very opening scene of episode 1, season 1, where they have the bodies all laid out, and it's very geometrical, and I like that they're continuing on with that symbolic thread. What's the symbology?
Symbolism.
Symbolism.
Should I just go with my note then?
Go with your note. And Abby, you're hosting after this scene because it's your episode.
Oh no.
Unless you'd rather not.
Whoops.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
So, Leaf, in reference to making, this White Walker or this weapon, mass destruction, she says and does what every woolly mammoth, dodo bird, soon to be rhinos and tigers, other endangered species would like to say or do. They want protection from mankind, who is or has killed them off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So how many species have you made extinct on Red Dead Redemption?
Apparently, woodpeckers.
Woodpeckers. They had a hard time finding a woodpecker the other day. Scarce. It was scarce.
Yeah, they are.
Really,
Alright.
really, a lot of birds are once you need to find them, you can't find them, and then
Was
once
it
you
red-breasted cormorant?
Right.
once you get one, then they're all over the place.
Right. Oh, it's like the squirrel hunt.
Yeah.
Took me freaking 3 days to find a goddamn perfect squirrel.
But Glenn, I think the moral of what you learned yesterday as you were playing, you were looking for the woodpecker for probably, I don't know, 11 hours. It was less than that.
1 or 2 hours.
And then you're like, oh, the next thing on the list is a field mouse.
A rat.
A rat.
Right.
Took you like 35 seconds. So the lesson was, rats are easier than birds.
Rats are easier to find than birds. No.
All right.
You know.
All right. Anything else on that first scene?
Very,
Wait,
very
what?
interesting to get this backstory. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. I liked it.
So next part in up north, we got Bran, Three-Eyed Raven, children, Mira, Summer, Hodor, and the spiky head one. Bran enters the tree, and the Night King springs the trap to leave his mark. Glenn, go ahead, start us.
So we see Bran kind of going rogue here, and he kind of, reads ahead in the curriculum, without, kind of going along with the syllabus, going off the syllabus a bit. But this scene kind of sends chills down my spine. One, because it looks so cold out, just really cold, and then two, the army and the Night King are just really, really, really scary looking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, definitely.
so layers of sending chills.
Yeah, it's very eerie, and it reminds me of a few scenes like in Westworld, like the earlier where they're walking around in like the basement, and there's just like all of these decommissioned bots, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I feel like any moment they're gonna like snap awake and just go ham on on whoever's walking through.
Yeah.
And Bran just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna walk all the way across. Who the fuck are those guys? Let's go see
He
them.
touched me. Show us on the doll where the Night King touched you.
Show us on Tickle Me Elmo.
Jesus. All right. So, my only note is for someone who sees everything, you'd think fucking Raven would maybe notice the impatient kid sneaking closer to the modem. It's yeah, I understand you're sleeping, but you know everything that's has happened and will happen, so you kind of let this happen. Kind of have to have that feeling of he kind of let this happen.
The boy can't walk. Like he probably thought he was fairly safe.
This is the only time I get to walk.
Right? Good, Luke.
I don't really have a whole lot specifically.
Oh.
Other than another really, really cool scene, walking through the whole army just standing there, not moving, and then all the White Walkers are kind of like looking the other way, and Bran like turns around and is like, "Oh fuck, they're all looking right at me."
There they are.
Right.
I love how the camera then like pans around as it like right in Bran's face. I'm sure we have a screenshot. We don't have a screenshot of that. Oh, they're way later in the episode, aren't they?
Yep.
But we'll check them out as we go through later. I don't want to flip through all the photos, but it just shows the Night King like right there is like, "Sup, biatch?
bitch? Let me touch
Gotcha. Hey, give me that arm.
Come here, son.
What's up, child?"
Yeah, there actually are some good shots on that because I made sure to slow it down to get those. Abby, go ahead.
It's just a really good like jump scare type factor because it's already creepy. We're walking through this creepy situation where I'm freaked out because we have all the White Walkers there. And he's just walking out like nonchalantly, and we've seen what they've done. And when we finally get the shot of, is that the Night King? Yes. Okay. So the Night King, and he's right there. I literally was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Run away! What are you doing?" And then he touches him, and I didn't know that really mattered I figured once he woke up, he kind of like broke his grip. I thought he was going to be like, I don't know, somehow messed up in his vision, but I didn't realize then when he's like, he touched you, I'm like, oh shit, like this is even worse. Oh no. So
Touched
it's
you.
yeah, and it's a nice little, I wasn't expecting. I mean, I don't think I could expect that, but
Mm-hmm.
just another little level of, oh, that mattered. So
It's got a very Freddy Krueger feel to it in general. Like, hey, if you
Mhm.
die in the dream, you die. If
Ye-
this mark, it kind of lasts in and outside of the dream
it,
world, kind of thing.
if we're going on to the he touched you part, I don't know, but it very much reminded me of like Grimaldi Place or whatever, however you say that in Harry Potter, where like you're safe inside here, but once somebody sees it, they can also get inside, kind of type thing. Like he
Mhm.
invited them
The
to see
Fidelius
it. So
charm.
yeah, there you go. That's what Hay had on him.
It kind of is on the. It seems like on the
On the
cave.
camera. Yeah.
Yeah,
On the
that's
cave, that's how
exactly
it
what it seems like. Yeah.
very much seemed to me.
Then we got a request for a cover of "When I Think About You." I touch myself. If you want to take the reins on that one for singing as the Night's King, touching brand.
Every time I
I don't want
okay.
anybody.
Uh, I have to sing it.
All right, we're moving on. We're going down to Pike. We got Theon, Yara, Euron, Aeron, and the Lords of Pike. A king's moot is held, and Yara has it in the bag until her dear nuncle arrives and makes some bold promises. Luke, go ahead.
Never be the first one to make your point in a debate. Always go last or towards the end. Be last, be loudest. You're always going to get, especially if the next guy has a good point,
Except for your Will Ferrell in Old School
and you just
going
you
against
nail it.
the Raging Cajun,
The
Jimmy
Raging-
Carville.
I
Actually, Jimmy, I'd like to take that one if you don't mind.
go for it. I have nothing. I have no rebuttal. That was perfect.
That was perfect.
But yeah, this whole scene very, very much feels like certain elections that we've seen in recent times and throughout history. You can kind of control a large crowd if you start hitting on certain topics that hit home, regardless of other things that come into play. Like, you don't necessarily have to show that you're a good person if you can show that you can potentially solve a few issues that a lot of people care deeply about.
Exactly. My only note is look at the big balls on Theon standing up to Euron. They're right there in that box. But probably the smartest thing they could do is just get the fuck out of Dodge after all that went down. They're like, yeah, he's getting drowned. We got about 20 minutes. Let's go.
That's what yeah, like how did they
They had
they
time to
seem to be
skate.
sailing off in quite a bit of ships. There's quite many ships with them, right?
Mhm.
Any
They
of the
had
ships.
49% of the votes.
Oh, so 49% of people left without anybody noticing while he's being drowned? Logistically, this doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay.
We
All
gotta
I
do
know
the
is they did
drowning
not have the
ceremony
majority.
first.
Yes.
So, Abby, they're all autonomous ships. They're like drones. You just have to drive the front one, and the rest will follow in formation.
Okay.
They have that
sure.
technology on Pike. That's why there's such great naval power.
Okay, sure. Like,
Duh.
like half the people fucking just bounced, and not a single one of the rest of the people are kind of like, oh, I wonder where they're
Let's keep
going.
an eye on them.
Yeah, like, which doesn't give me much confidence in Euron's followers. They're obviously dumb.
What else
But-
you got on this, Ab?
He's kind of he's gonna be annoying to me, I think. He's a bit self-inflating, I think, and his comments about Danny make me be like, ew, hate you already. So other than that, Theon, it was nice to see Theon stick up for Yara, and it was nice to see it wasn't just Theon being like, yeah, my sister's really cool, guys. Like, there were definitely people you could see being like, yeah, she is. So she does have a little bit of backup or clout, which is nice.
Yeah. Glenn?
So we learn here that C men plus C people equals C society. um, yeah, like it. I think Luke, you're making the point of never go second in the debate, but at this time, like, they must have not known that there's going to be anybody else because you see, Urine kind of crashes the party, comes sashaying in, like he owns the place, kind of, halfway through their little spiel or whatever, and I don't think they expected like him definitely or somebody else like that to just come in and I think their thought process was we're gonna win the crowd over and everyone's gonna be joyous and it's gonna be a good day and we'll go get some ice cream, and then Euron comes and no ice cream.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
The Matumbo.
No.
Well, I think they almost thought their biggest problem was going to be
The ice cream.
getting people on board.
On Billy Boyd.
On board with her just being the queen or whatever. So I feel like that was the fight that they were trying to fight, and then all of a sudden we kind of won that.
The curveball was thrown.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then no ice cream.
No ice cream. Yeah, we do see that no ice cream.
This is Theon
The ice
finding
cream
out there's
social
no ice cream.
Was canceled.
No. What?
The ice cream social is canceled.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, so like whenever Euron does show up, I think Theon again makes some pretty solid points here. He gets put on the spot, and it's like you were gone. Asha Yara was here, and then again Euron kind of rebuttals with a really solid point of, well, that's fine and all, but I paid the iron price for this throne. Like I'm the one who killed the guy. Like just kind of owning it. It's like, yeah, fine. Yeah, that's how we do things around here. Like it kind of hits on a more.
It was time for him to go.
More core value of the Ironborn of show your strength and take what's yours, as opposed to feeling like you're owed it. And I'm not saying that Yara is doing that because she has kind of earned it over time, but there's still this kind of extra layer that Euron can pull because he has a fairly legitimate claim as well.
Right, and he does.
And he does, as Glenn would say. And that's fine. But I don't know, just really good back and forth. Very different than the books. There's a lot more people involved in the book scene, but for the show, it works. Euron's a bit comical at times, but pretty effective scene.
Yeah. So, anybody got anything else for this?
Where are my niece and nephew? Let's go murder them. That's a bad line. That's a bad line. Like, say execute. Like, if you're supposed to be the king, you don't talk about murdering people anymore.
Let's go obliterate them.
Just
pulverize them.
They're brave men. Let's go kill them. Quote Tyrion.
I want to go commit first-degree homicide.
Squash them.
Let's go squash them.
All right, so we're gonna head on down to Vastothrak, Dany, Jorah, Dario, and the Horde. Dany orders her stony bear to find a cure and return to her. I'm going to start this one off and then I'll let you guys talk. This was actually a really sweet scene, but she's realizing more and more that Jorah's like herpes. You can control him. You just can't get rid of him. He keeps coming back just at the most inconvenient times. So I don't know. But it was a very sweet scene. Whoever wants to go next, go ahead.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for herpes. That shit will come back with
and grayscale.
And grayscale. So I guess I'll kind of go now.
Why don't you go for it?
And this is kind of Jim Gaffigan has a good stand up talking about like Jesus or whatever, but it's kind of it's good for this scene as well because Daddy's kind of like, oh, go find a cure, like go do all the hard work. It's just Jorah's got to be like, how about we just set up a big fundraiser?
Can we try to
No, get cracking on your miracles. I hate those Jesus jokes.
Is that Jim Gaffigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Abby?
I wish I would have watched this again today because right before this, I like that Dario 2.0 is standing here watching this because I feel like a couple times he's kind of getting the
Like, come on, I'm
like
losing a heart on here.
yeah,
Getting
well he's like
salty.
he's getting like the take that bitch, like she loves me, I love
I
her.
won the
Sit
love
back and be
triangle.
quiet. Yes, like he gets a couple good digs, and not
Digs.
necessarily Jorah doing it to Dario, but Danny, how important he is to her, being like, "Ha, Dario, you're not all that," and a slice of cheese or whatever. I have kids knocking at my door, but yeah, go cure yourself. Let's guess. Speculation number 1. He finds a cure. That's just what we're gonna go with.
That's where they're leading you to believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, when has he disappointed her yet? Except for lying to her that one time, you know.
Hey, I didn't find a
Other than
cure.
You're right. Yeah, no, he's gonna find it. All right. Sorry. Answering my door that's being pounded on. See ya.
All right, and I'm back. Did everybody get a chance to go with their stuff?
No, I've got one last note here, and it's kind of touching on what Glenn was getting at of like Danny kind of like, hey, here's this impossible task, and it's her mentality has got to be like, well, I've done the impossible like a bunch of times. I mean, I'm just asking you to do it once. Like, I've walked into fire a bunch of times. I birthed dragons for the first time in 100 years. Come on, I just need one little miracle from you, just one.
One little happy miracle.
Prove you're worth something, you
Draw a
know?
little happy little grayscale here.
Jorah Ross. Bob
the
Morbots.
joy of grayscale.
The joy of grayscale.
All right, so we're going to talk about really quick the Sanrixian calendar. Get some ASOIF swag for your house. Mallory Dorn has produced a wonderful series of drawings and released them in a calendar. You can find them at sanrixian.com. Luke, if you don't mind posting that link up in the chat
I
there.
was showing off the calendar.
Oh, well, fine. I will get that here. But yeah, go to sanrixian.com and find all of her cool swag. She's a good friend of the show that has
She'll
done
be
a
here
lot
next
of
week. She'll be with us
Oh,
next week.
Nice.
She's with us next week. Perfect.
And-
And she's done a lot of our artwork and stuff for our stuff.
And
So
starting today, you can use the calendar.
Starting
'cause it's
today, boom.
2019.
Woo, there's today.
Yay. So it's functional. It's
the
functional now.
holiday for today, New Year's Day. Look,
Who knew?
it's effective.
It has the holidays on there.
Check it out. We'll talk
least-
more
at
about
least
that
the first
probably
one.
next week when she's here with us.
yeah, definitely. So all
A
right.
week into the calendar.
1 weekend, we'll tell her how the first 7 days went. You know, I'll maybe do a daily review.
Daily
I looked at
review.
the
of
calendar
that.
again. It says
Take a
3.
daily selfie.
The
with
font
the
on
one.
2 is awesome. I love it.
All right, so we're gonna go over to Marine. We got Tyrion, Varys, Grey Worm, Missandei, and Kinvara. The council discusses the success so far in the pact and makes moves to spread some good news to the people. Luke, go ahead.
Knowledge has made you powerful, but there's still so much you don't know. And I'm a big Varys fan. I haven't hidden that at all, but she makes some really, really good points here of, you know, he kind of wears this as armor, right? His knowledge is his armor, and she knows where the chinks in that armor are. You know, she knows how to work right through that, and she has, again, kind of as Abby was pointing out with Jock and Hagar, some of these people that have like mystical backgrounds are like, how do you have this information? Like, is the God stuff true? And like there's like just enough to like set him like really, really uneasy, and kind of cuts to the core of like I've told maybe one person that story, and there's no way you would have that information without one, like knowing who the sorcerer was and getting like a full report of this happened. And somehow it just by chance everything happened that we have this conversation now with Kinvara and Varys, but like it just seems like there's more
She looked up
to
his
it.
Wikipedia page or something.
Yeah, it was on there. It was on his about me.
some little
Right.
jackass 13-year-old kid just made up stuff about him.
Abby.
So in our Slack chat, I've had a lot of questions about this whole episode, and one of them was, all right, can we talk about the fact that this chick, like, I thought she was Mel. I still am not convinced that she's not Mel. So here we go. She's got this spooky little necklace on. They have the same color hair. And if you watch it without
big
actually
titties.
watching it, listen to it. I feel like it's her voice. I feel like it's Mel's voice through like some type of audio, like cleaning or audio. Like let's drop the level or something, because it's still, there's some words that she says that is exactly as, hold on, buddy. Is it like it's just Mel? I
Definitely
swear.
is, hold on, buddy.
Yeah, exactly as, hold on, buddy. Sorry, I have a helper in here today. We need our books, which what mom can deny that. So I'm gonna let him do it. But I don't know.
You may
I
not read.
yeah, don't read. No more books for you. But they, I just think it's her. I think that little necklace thing, she can teleport now and change from old to young and
Old to young.
or young to old and be whatever she is. And it was her voice more than anything else. Like, I was taking notes during this and I glanced up and I was like, whoa, is that Mel? And sorry, I'm gonna pause this. Thoughts
Okay.
later.
Okay, I'll just go right into my note.
Roll with it.
the punches.
Segue into your point, Glenn.
So I like Vari's in this scene. He has good point in my opinion. Like, how can Stannis be the one that was promised, and then when everything goes south, just, oh, my bad, I was wrong.
Yeah, it's cool.
Let's move on from that.
We didn't sacrifice a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's just like a big thing that, especially with them, they need to get right. They don't have like this, oh, let's just roll with this person because, you know, the flavor of the month, and then it, like, if it turns bad, like, that could be it for them.
And he, right along with that, he makes the point of, you religious fanatics can never be wrong. Like, no matter what you say, you can just say, oh, I misinterpreted it, and it's cool. Like, you just like, oh, but it's actually this. We've learned from that. Now we're going this route. This is what it was the whole time. I'm imperfect. The God is perfect. Like,
we found these new tablets.
New information has presented itself. Has come to light.
New information.
You need to buy this book to get the new information.
Right.
I absolutely love this scene. Varys is holding nothing back in his skepticism, like you guys are talking about, but Kinvara just shuts him down with only info that literally him and Tyrion know. As far as we're aware, those two are the only two that know what happened to him, and now she's just calling it out to him. And you could see Tyrion, he's even like, "Oh, come on, buddy, it's okay." It's okay.
We want you to help us. So, like, don't let this mar the relationship that we're creating right now. My friend is a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
You can say that.
Exactly. But you can tell, like, Tyrion's like, he's going to kill this girl. He's going to, like, fucking strangle her right now if he gets the chance. So, but yeah, him looking scared and everything, I absolutely, like I said, love this scene. That it's just, yeah. Reminds me of the James Franco GIF. I don't know if you guys know the one I'm talking about, but yeah. Anyway, so we got anything else on Marine here with this discussion?
Abby, did you have any final thoughts on Kinvara being Mel?
No, so really I was just trying to poorly put it out there that maybe the syntax or the actual words she's using and how she used them is, I feel like, how Mel speaks also.
Mm-hmm. It could be regional dialect things. It could be, hey, they went to the same Lord of Light school, and they were taught this way. So they're both from the same order. I haven't heard this theory before that they're the same person, or that they're translating voice, which I could see that potential, because that Ruby has some power for sure. We've seen that.
Yeah. So because like when I asked in there, I got the response, well, that's Kinvara or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. It's still Mel. So that is going to be one of my speculations. It's going to be let's get some people on YouTube, get some conspiracy theories going. Be smarter than me with more information about why this could work.
Do the homework.
But
Hey, Abby, just think, in like a couple months, you could start looking at all the theories and stuff you
I know.
want.
Yay!
What we got?
So people who can look at them now, figure out why I'm right, okay? Will it to be true?
Or
all
dig
right?
up the theory that's already out there.
We
Potentially.
got, what, 12 weeks? Yeah.
Not
probably.
long.
Not long.
Yep. So, all right. So, as is tradition around here, we've come to our final scene.
Final scene. Ding for the chat.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. It's a final segment of scenes, I can say. But we got Bran, Three-Eyed Raven, Leaf, Summer, Hodor, Mira, Willis, Ned, Benjen, Rickard, Night King, Crastersons, and others. Start of the first one, Mira and Hodor chat about going home while an undead militia arrives. Much information is downloaded to a US brand drive.
These were actually the screenshots from the scene earlier. Just real
so
quick.
Go back to that one really quick. The Four Horsemen. The main reason I got that is because of what I talked about last week with the Come and See. It's very much tie-in to
apocalyptic.
the Apocalypse, Four Horsemen kind of thing.
You will break the seventh seal.
Come and see.
But yeah, that's the over the shoulder. Hey, there's a guy.
Yeah.
He touched you. Now we're at the scenes.
Yeah,
there we are.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that. Luke did all these notes on here, and I haven't read through them. So I did like much information is downloaded to a US brand drive. Way too much to unpack, in my opinion. But Bran seeing his father being sent to the Vale and an inspirational speech from Grandpa Stark. I did like that. You know, we never hear much about Rickard. You know, and it's nice to actually finally get a shot of him apart from being stuck in the throne room screaming.
Right, and he says to Ned like don't fight, but if you have to fight, win.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like a simple saying, but it means nothing, but it means so much. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
It's so fierce too. Like, let's not fight. Don't do that. Not good. Whatever. But it's almost commanding when he says like, but if you do win, like it's an expectation. Like, I don't even feel like it's do your best, honey. It's okay. You struck out. It was
no.
Like you are Ned Stark.
So,
you are gonna
don't be
fucking
afraid
win,
of the
dude.
fight
or the dark.
Yeah, you were gonna win.
Like,
I liked
a wink,
it.
Like you're gonna be in fights.
It's
like,
gonna happen.
Be good enough to win those fights. Don't just run away from fights and then
don't pick a fight. But if you find yourself in one, take it home.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't start him, but finish him.
Yeah. And Mira kind of talking with Hodor, they're excited about going home, right? They're kind of like, I want to have all these foods, and Hodor's like, Hodor.
Yeah, he really
See,
gets it perfect. Every time,
just great.
I thought it was really sweet to see Mira, like she was super excited, and I felt like really sad here in a minute, but that Hodor really like conveyed like, ooh, excitement. We're gonna go home. We're gonna have eggs, and you saw like some of that his personality almost even with him confined to one word. But I actually liked Mira a lot in that little scene. With it showed her like compassion and excitedness versus
just brooding and being kind of a bit pissy about. I mean, she didn't sign up for this. I mean, she did, but she didn't expect it to go this way.
Right, and she's done her job and she's protected him, but I've been stuck in this fucking tree. Like, can we do something?
She's got cabin fever. I mean, can we get out of here, please?
Cavern fever.
Cavern fever.
Cavern fever. All right, so next part is we have the White Walkers enter the cave through the fire and flames. Whites take the high road. Mira begs Bran to warg into Hodor. Only note I got on this one, motherfucking Summer. God damn it. Just really? I mean, it was needed, but and perfect visuals here. I mean, this is probably one of the coolest visuals in the entire show, or this scene. So, Glenn.
Yeah. So, and I guess it's I don't know if it's this scene or like the next one or whatever, but you kind of see the two universes collide of Bran being in his vision, plus hearing like Mira's voice, like is pretty. I don't know, weird and cool and everything at the same time. Where this may be what happens if you stay too long. Things can happen that changes the future, and you see kind of the two worlds colliding, and then the thing happens to the Hodors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, the visuals here of the White Walkers kind of entering the cave are pretty sweet, and like just the fire kind of pretty cool, and walking through the fire. We've seen that before. Clearly, only the White Walkers, the others, can walk through it and not be harmed. The Whites all go around and take the high road, as we see, and yeah, it's kind of like, oh, our defenses are down. Olympus has fallen. Olympus has fallen. And so then kind of the mad dash to get the fuck out. And yeah, Summer kind of making the choice to kind of hang back and sacrifice himself. I don't know how much of that was him choosing or if there was another kind of instinctual just brand preservation thing going on there. But yeah, here's one for Summer.
Well, I think there's like the theory out there that the direwolves basically sacrifice themselves because of a mistake that their owner, I guess, has made or whatever. But my thought is, I mean, these are wolves do good in packs. When you have a lone wolf, they don't do too well.
The packs are bad. The lone wolf dies.
Don't turn your back on the wolf pack. Might end up in a body bag.
Where are we going to at this point? Like where? Sorry,
This is right when they're entering the cave. The White Walkers are.
The biggest.
And this goes to Mira saying, "Worgen to Hodor, Worgen to Hodor."
Okay. So the biggest thing about like the White Walkers and the Whites, again, I watch like Walking Dead, and whenever I think of like a zombie, I feel like they're just kind of not slow. And if you have, again, a ton of them that are just incessant on getting into somewhere and they're just pushing and pushing, but it's always slow. The speed of these White Walkers and Whites, like it just is terrifying to me. The fact that you have an undead army that not only some of them are thinking and controlling it, but that the ones they're controlling actually have a huge advantage of speed over anybody, and like they don't care if they get hurt. So climbing up things, there's no reservation. That is terrifying to me.
Like the
just
PCP effect.
Yeah, like it really is spooky to me. And as far as her being able, like saying warg into Hodor, if we're going there, then he obviously hears it on the other side of his vision, which very much to me seems like in my brain how I worked through it was like when you're sleeping and you're dreaming or something and you can hear, like you wake up and you're like, hold on, wait, did this happen last night? And you almost have memory of it, but not really. It's almost like a question, like, was I dreaming that? Did that happen? So kind of in that in between state of sleep, or is how I see it happening.
A bit lucid dreaming.
Yeah, like I can see that it would work. I don't feel like it's impossible. I don't question it.
Yeah, fair. So then we have Hodor and Mira take Bran down the hallway. The Night's King makes an end to the three-eyed raven. Leaf kamikaze hand grenades. Abby, thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, Leaf. Again, I feel like they have powers to kind of know what's going on too. So did she already know that this is how it's going to go down? And is this the end of the Children of the Forest? Like, is that all of them there that are left?
All the leaves.
All the leaves are brown.
And the sky is
The
gray.
sky is gray.
I know the
I
whole song. If
went
you'd like
for
to,
a walk.
for a walk on a winter's day.
On a Weirwood day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop
'cause
into a
that
church.
ties it into Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Wow.
there's our performance.
So, like, I don't know if there's more children. It seemed like pretty much they all perished, at least the ones that we had
That
been
group of
seeing.
like 5 or 6 or so.
Yeah. So I don't know if there are more or if that's it and that's like the end of their kind, which makes me sad. And then we see Bran really warging into Hodor, right? I'm not going too far. Or am
No,
I?
that's yep, we're there. Bran.
Okay. So in his vision, he sees Hodor and he wargs into him, and we see it cuts back to real time, and we see Hodor's eyes also kind of do the gloss over thing. So he's inhabited both past and present Hodor. Gets the little sledge and they get out of there. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens
This kind of
here.
reminds me of this story I read. It's like a short story I read one time where these people they could time travel back to the the past, and what they were doing was they were going back to basically like the Jurassic era, stuff like that.
Fucking dinosaurs.
They're fucking dinosaurs and stuff like that. But anyways, like there's this like these expeditions that these people would go on, kind of learning about the dinosaurs and whatnot. But they were like, basically you can't touch or do like anything because it's gonna change the future. And this guy's just like, oh, okay, like cool, like fuck you. But anyways, like what happens is he steps on a butterfly, and then once they go back
Ripple effect.
to their time, like everything's all fucked up or whatever.
Just because one tiny minute detail was changed.
Monday detail.
Well, this
It's
is not a
always one of those
mundane
Monday
detail,
detail.
Michael.
That's
Yeah.
what
It
I
reminded me of.
wish I hadn't squished that fish.
What was that from?
It's actually a Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors
Gotcha.
episode. It's a butterfly effect
Gotcha.
Dr.
parody.
Seuss.
Yeah, so we're really starting to open up some of the really big what the fuck with Bran storyline stuff here. I mean, this is kind of what everything is culminated to. And yeah, he can go into the Weirwood Net. Yeah, he can warg. But those seem like two separate abilities. Green Seer ability and your warg ability. He's able to somehow connect these throughout time. He makes this like connection, kind of as you point out, Ab, and it's kind of a game changer. It completely changes things for him, and it's kind of a scary ability. Clearly, it turns pretty
For
bad
the noobs here. Green Seer, is that somebody who can tap into Weirwood
So
Wi-Fi?
basically, they can only see green. That
They see, you hear
Colorblind,
like shades
okay.
of gray, or like monochromatic. This is green-achromatic.
Okay.
No, you're correct, Abby.
Yeah, that and like Jojen had Green Seer abilities. Like he had
Yeah.
premonitions and things
Okay.
like that as
and
well.
trains.
All right.
And there's a lot of theories out there as to how they interact with the same thing. There's a lot out
Was
there.
also listening to sorry, I'm always listening, so I never even really look at it. Is it Clash of Kings, the second book?
Yes.
Okay, so I was listening to that last night, and we just met Mira and Jojen, or Bran did. So it's just a little different, like how they're introduced, and I believe we find out that Jojen, and maybe it was in the show too, but his dad, I can't think of, Holland Reed?
Howland.
Yeah,
Paul and Oates
was
Reed.
the guy with Ned
Stark at
and
the Tower of Joy.
Arthur. Yeah, so like maybe it's said, or maybe you guys just knew the
Rondé.
character, but
Rondé,
for me, I don't know if I knew that was necessarily Holland Reed, Jojen, and Mira's
It's
father.
not as played up in the show. They say that
don't-
whenever we first
Yeah.
see Howland Reed, they're like, "Oh, that's Mira's dad." Like but you could easily miss it if you're not aware of
Yeah.
it.
So that doesn't really have anything to do with this scene, but just reading it last night, I was like, oh, cool. But with this scene specifically, you ready for it?
Sure.
My questions are, I take it like Luke was just saying, he was able to like transcend this time gap or whatever, past and present. He works in the past and the present at the same time. But what is it? So then we see
Same time.
or we'll call him Willis.
Yep.
Willis. He has this seizure where he has, hold the door, turning it into Hodor, and then from then on just speaks Hodor. Does he have new thoughts, like moving on because he dies here, or is it just like this traumatic event that has forever altered him because he has so traumatized by seeing his own death that this is all his brain is capable of, is those words? Or does he just see himself die, or does he feel it? Like I
So
wonder.
I have a few theories. I'm sure Luke and Glenn probably do as well. I'll kind of start with mine. First, I don't know if you read the note, but Luke has Hodor pushes through the door, and I wanted to edit Willis holds the door because he has always known that this is where it happens. So
So you think that he is,
this is
since this point, he physically knows absolutely that this is coming?
yes, and
Okay.
so like that goes to my note of earlier when he was talking. Or I was holding off when he was talking with Mira. He seemed happy and like all
Yeah.
this. I saw it like I went back and rewatched it and kind of looking at his eyes. There's a bit of sadness in his eyes because he knows what's coming. You know, I do feel like there's a couple shots where he's like Hodor, and like I do feel like there's a couple shots where he's not so happy go lucky uh,
He's I
about
can
it.
also see it like the Jojen thing, where Jojen's always known this is where he goes,
Yeah,
but he doesn't necessarily he's not trying to stop it. It's a faithful servant. To your point, I can see that. Like he's just been this faithful servant
mhm,
who's this is my job. This is what I am here for, purpose. So
exactly.
Um, I think it's just one of those. If I had to guess, like he doesn't know exactly. He just knows that hold the door means or Hodor or whatever means something big or something like that. It's where he just hears things in his head. Mira, I guess, saying hold the door, and then so he starts to just say that once he starts spazzing out or whatever. In my opinion, I don't think he knows like, oh, I'm gonna die there because I saw in the future where I die. I think he just knows that hold the door means something.
Yeah, I'm closer to what you're on there, Glennie. I don't think Hodor young. I don't think Willis, young Hodor, also known as actor Sam Coleman. There you go. Um, I don't think he has any information from what Hodor is doing in the cave. I think there is because he starts spasming out. I mean, there's it's like a short circuit is really what this is, and it basically breaks him. Is how
Yeah.
I view it, and those are the things that connect through. That's the connective tissue that caused this short circuit of hold the door, and we see it kind of play out. I don't think he really has any information of what's going on as young Willis, but I think this is kind of what happens when we've already called out how problematic it is for Bran to warg into a human in general. Like it's one
Yes.
thing with his wolf who is kind of there as a soul partner kind of thing, but taking over another being with free will and all of these things.
In the past, too.
I'm not saying that dogs don't have free will. I'm just bringing it into the story here, but this is what normal people would experience. They don't have the tools to handle this like Bran does or like Blood Raven does, the three-eyed raven. And it breaks him. From that point on, he's stuck in this thing. I don't think but it's also nothing he can change. It happened here. It's going to happen because there's only one timeline is what we see. You can't change the events of the
Yeah.
past. Everything that happens has already happened and you can't change it. Basically, if you change something in the past, that means you already went back in the future and
Yes.
changed it at that time.
There's a loop.
In the future past, if you will.
Hodor loop.
And there's a lot of different types of time travel in fiction. This one is a little bit more straight through linear. There's just one timeline, and you can't alter it. You just put the pieces into place like you always did.
Like they've always been there.
It's not Back to the
other
Future where you go back and,
Like
or like the butterfly one where you change one little thing and it ripples out and changes
Yeah.
things. It's
Or like
you always did that.
Bill and Ted's, when eventually they go back. Oh, we got to tell Bill and Ted.
or the Back to the Future style of, Biff Tannen getting
I-
the
Mhm.
I just question more like I'm like I said earlier, when I was just talking to the guys, I'm like, I watched it once and just took it as it was. Okay, cool. And then I started thinking about it, taking notes, and I'm like, hold on, wait, what the hell just happened? So I watched it again, more confused. Watched it a third time for clarity. That was a problem because it just didn't happen like that. For me personally, I just see it as he was able to like do past and future like at the same time. Willis Hodor, he works into him, gets himself out. My problem lies in the quality of life Willis or Hodor has from that point on, because I started kind of comparing it to almost like a traumatic brain injury that severely alters somebody's personality or mental capacity. And then I'm like, well, if he was, like Luke said, like broke him, like it, and that's all his capacity is just to say Hodor from now on. Like, how is his like mobile function? Like he can walk around. He's still pretty strong. He still can follow directions. So
He can drive a car.
there's intelligence in there that it just makes me question. I'm probably looking way too like medically into it. Like you fell off a horse and have some amnesia. Well, how does this happen? It's just, I'm sure, more fantastical than maybe the parameters of science will allow us to reason out. But like, how does he follow directions? Or I don't know.
That's kind of where I go with he's not quite broken. I mean, I think there was a mental break in there but I think it was also Bran downloading the information into Willis at that moment.
So, and you're talking about this, you're downloading the information, and like Bran downloaded like what information? I don't feel like I got that reference or point through watching.
Okay, so Bran
And they
basically,
do speak about it in like the after about the episode, so it's not you guys giving me like some spoiler, like, and Bran like took it, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't. It
At
didn't
this moment,
convey that to
Bran
me.
is getting all the information, like
Okay,
all the information that ever was. He's getting it instilled into himself.
and that's
But
why he can't wake up, or
yes,
what? Okay,
yes. That's why he can't wake up. But he, at that moment, was in the Winterfell
He's cramming
area
for the
going
for the
back
exams.
okay,
had Willis in his sights and was able to jump into him, young Willis,
right.
to affect Hodor. And in that instance, I think because that's when they left the tree, he left the net, so the download got interrupted as he was controlling Willis, and some of that got instilled into Willis, causing him to be Hodor. And it broke the connection, so Bran couldn't pull out, and that's what ended up causing Willis to be Hodor, kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying some of that seeped into Hodor, and he knew what was coming.
He has some last question about it, and then I'll let you guys go on with your brilliant points about this scene, because I was a little not confused, just like, how does this happen? Like, odd. I won't say shocked, just like, this is really exciting. So we're in this cavern in a weirwood. Is this the only one like this? Like, there's weirwoods all over. Is this like the main one? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be destroyed at this point. After, taking one for the team, Leaf goes for it. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
honestly don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
So let's jump off of Bran, because there's a lot of questions we can't really answer. A lot of fun stuff for sure. But so back in the cave itself, we have Three-Eyed Raven being killed by the Night King himself. And actually, before this, we have Mira having our third official Walker kill.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go on that. Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier. Leaf kind of does her kamikaze grenade to buy a little bit more time, and a lot of lot of sacrifices being made for this one kid,
For Bran.
right?
Yes. And I still feel like, at least me, okay, he's going to be the three-eyed raven or whatever. I don't get why we're sacrificing for him. Not that he doesn't deserve it. And I guess he's all-knowing. But why do you have to have somebody in the world that's all-knowing? Like, what's the... I don't know. Is what it
Glenn,
is.
why do we have
Fair.
to have someone in the world that's all knowing? Yeah, no, it's a good point, and kind of just right along the topics we were talking about, with the connections between in the Weirwood net and in reality. Whenever the three-eyed raven gets killed, he like explodes in what's Winterfell in the past, and that I thought was a pretty interesting. Also, like, kind of goes right along with that, the Hodor connection, if you will, and it's just interesting to see that, like, once the graphics are pretty cool, and two, if you die in the real world, you die in the Weirwood net here in show canon. So it kind of goes to topics we've talked about with warging. If you're warged into an animal and your body gets killed, are you still alive? Like, I don't know. The show canon is potentially different than book canon, but here it seems like if you die in the real world, you're dead. Like, your essence is gone, even in the Weirwood net.
Yeah. No. So, Glenn, you got anything on Hodor holding the door?
I just had a point.
It should have been you wearing your Hodor shirt. I finally get it.
You get it? I do think it's funny, like growing up and stuff. Like, everybody, the guy just says like, he just randomly started saying Hodor one day or whatever, and everyone's like, it doesn't really know why. They're just like, just kind of go with it.
He
like,
just drops and has this seizure.
Yeah, he just says Hodor or whatever. That's just his thing. His name's Hodor now. And like, even as the viewer, like, you don't really know. He's Hodor. He says Hodor. But then, like, you see this and you're like, oh,
Hodor.
Hodor. I get it
Yeah.
now.
I do love there's one story from a writer. He was like at a convention for a week, and Martin was in the same hotel as him, and like every day he'd be running to the elevator, like, "Hey, hold the door!" And every morning, hold the door, and Martin's standing there, and finally he gets, like, on the last day, he goes, "Hold the door!" Holy shit, that's what Hodor means, and Gurm just kind of grins at him, just kind of,
Yes, my son.
Now, again, Abby, this part hasn't happened in the book. This is show only at this point for book.
That's what I assume, because again, I got the after the show inside with Dave and Dan, and they
Inside
were
baseball.
like, they said, when he told us the origin of Hodor, we both were just kind of, I mean, it's shocking. And
and I'm not gonna lie, I legit teared up at this scene again watching it.
It was an eye opener, kind of shocking. Like, oh my god.
like, this whole character has been put into into 6 seasons of televisions for literally holding a door so somebody can escape.
I'm so
I don't know.
Hey, he carried him all the way up there too.
Yeah, I know, but like, his
yeah.
whole point has been to sacrifice himself to further Bran's mission. So it is very much, and he's lovable.
You had one job, and you did it.
And you did it.
And you did it.
Fucking did it.
Nailed it. All right. Anybody got anything else on?
Do we want to cheers real quick to Hodor?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
Hodor. Cheers.
Hodor.
Our
That's
final
me.
Hodor cheers.
Definitely a
I hold
well
the
shot
door only for a moment, and the moment's gone.
Oh no.
Three-Eyed Raven was dust in the wind.
Right.
Yep. There was a lot of dust in the wind today.
Props to, so this actor's name is Sam Coleman, the one who plays young Willis, and again, coming in for just 2 episodes, and
Feeling it.
awesome stuff. Like, as it's happening, the first time you're watching it, and it's just like, holy shit, he's spazzing out on the ground, he's saying hold the door, and then it kind of merges, and that final dimensional loop is connected finally. And
what do you think they dropped the names? Just started calling him Hodor.
Probably not. It probably took a little while.
Probably, I'd say about 2 years. I'd give it about a 2 year.
What was your
Especially,
rating?
especially
Think
once the
about
Stark
like
children
Ned's
left.
leaving that day,
Right,
right?
right.
Ned is leaving that day, and we have Liana's there, and Benjen is there, but I'm gonna guess within a few, he goes to the wall. So once his like equal aged people that he grew up with, they're all gonna leave,
And then they come back and people are
and
calling
all
him
the
Hodor, and he's like,
yeah,
"Oh,
because
okay."
we got all the young kids who are
Okay.
just gonna. That's what I would think. They
Yeah,
just
I
got
mean, we
this-
know
That's how they know him as Hodor. That's his nickname.
Yeah.
Ned's older brother and father get killed. We know Benjen goes to the Night's Watch. We know Lyanna does her thing, and so yeah, I mean, like unless there's other kids around, like yeah, no one's gonna really know. He's just the stable boy that's always been there, and
Yeah.
he can't
And
tell
if
you
they're
what his
trying to
name
probably-
describe
is.
him, hey, go get the stable boy. Which one? Yeah, Hodor.
You know, it's the one that says Hodor. That's
You
gonna
can't-
quickly
you
turn
can't
into
miss him,
oh, go
the
get Hodor.
guy.
and he's big and probably
Yeah.
slightly, because he's not understood well, like demonized a little bit.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
nobody's
outcast.
getting to know him. Yeah, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Poor Hodor Willis.
So, all right. So that wraps up our recap. So for episode title accuracy, The Door.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
I
I
feel
believe
like
the
it's about the most accurate we've ever had.
Yeah.
Most fitting.
Yeah, I'm good
I
with
think
it.
it's one of the best ones we've had this season for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pretty accurate. So description accuracy. Tyrion seeks a strange ally. Sure. Hot but strange. Yes.
Would you call it
Bran
Vincent
learns.
Strange.
Bran learns a great deal.
Yeah. I'd say so. There are some lessons to be learned here, young Brandon.
Brienne goes on a mission.
I don't really. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still confused by it because they all left together. It was
Yeah.
not clear that they were separating down the road further.
She's leaving for a mission.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. Arya is given a chance to prove herself.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Least favorite thing. Glenn.
Just the final scene where you kind of learn the origins of Hodor and him dying. I think
Yeah.
great final scene. I loved it, but I also was sad.
Fair. I don't have a least favorite thing. First time ever. I absolutely love this episode.
It's not the
They're-
first time ever you've done this
Yes.
before.
Nope. I almost did it. I almost did it last week, but I found the one thing with what's his name, with fucking Dario and that. I almost did it last week. Nope. This is the first time that I have not had a least favorite thing. So I'm sticking to it. Luke.
Where are my niece and nephew? Let's go murder them.
Fair.
Pretty, for an overall pretty good scene, the King's Moot. Like it ended up that like I just kind of
Let's murderize him.
let's obliterate them to death. Like it's just a little heavy-handed. Come on, you're right. Like I
Fair.
get it, but come on.
Ab.
I kind of feel disloyal even saying this, but I'm gonna go with Arya, basically in Bravos. I'm really over it. Like I feel like this is not where her story. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. I feel like she needs. I'm just over it. Like I'm sick of hearing about it. She's not good enough. She's not ready. And that's probably how she feels
It
too.
over
But-
and over and over again.
and-
It was,
and it
like,
doesn't.
it was like season 5, episode 4, where they
Like,
were like, "You're not gonna make it here. You should
She's
just
gonna-
leave."
She gets beat up. She tries to figure out what's going on. She still doesn't know what's going on. And maybe I feel this way because I, like her, kind of don't know where we're going with this.
You are not alone.
So I'm kind of over it. Like, get Arya back into Westeros and have her go find somebody because
Yeah.
I
we
feel
need
like they
to get out of
spent about a
Bravos.
season too long in Bravos.
Like, it's just
I really feel like they probably could have left her out of season 5 and done like Bran. Leave Bran and Arya out of season 5, bring them back
Yeah.
for season 6. You'd get the same
And-
feel.
it's nothing against like her or thinking like
Yeah, it's the writers.
Maisie,
It's the writers.
like that she's like bad because everything she's in is good, but we're not going anywhere, guys.
Yeah.
So
it's the
over it.
writers.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to favorite thing, and we'll go in reverse order. Abby, go ahead with your favorite thing.
my favorite thing would just be the entire last scene. Mind blown.
Fair. Luke.
Everything Bran.
Yeah.
So the last scene, including the scenes before that, leading up to it, of the creation of the Night Walk of the the White Walkers, and just really really cool stuff that we don't have in the books, and it could be fan fiction. We don't know that this is the way it's gonna happen in the books, but it's cool. I like it.
No, agreed. And absolutely, the cave, the final scene, Hodor, is the best thing out in this episode. I'm gonna give an honorable mention though to Kinvara and Vari's interaction. It's just so well done, and I love that those two together working like that. Glenn.
I kind of liked like Arya and like watching the play and stuff like that. It definitely like a cool thing that just kind of you wouldn't just like expect. Oh, they're gonna have like a play, but it's gonna be like
Parody
about stuff that we've already seen. Just parody of what we've seen in the show already. And it was really cool to see or whatever.
Yeah, I was
Kinda
definitely
like-
going to give an honorable mention to
right.
that.
Like watching Robin Hood or something as a play.
Yeah,
Not
you
that
have
I
Prince
have
of
to
Thieves, and
defend
then you
myself.
have Men in Tights.
Not that I feel like I have to defend myself, but here I am defending myself against his. I agree. Like that was enjoyable and fun to watch. I want to separate that and like how I'm saying, like
From the
the stuff
House of
they're
Black and
well,
White.
the stuff they're showing is really great, but I'm just overseeing the same thing again. That was different. That was also a very good part.
Mhm.
I like that. They could have kept that in Arya in. That would
They
be
could have
good.
dropped her getting her ass kicked again. Like just leave
Again.
that part out. And her part here is awesome. They just have a quick
Yes.
chat with Jock, and
With
she doesn't need to
Jaqen.
fucking be, oh, you suck at this. Prove yourself. Like
Here's a big
we
test.
get it. You've done this for a season now. Like
Right.
Next up.
So awesome. So make sure if you're interested to check out and come hang out with us at Ice and Fire Con, go to iceandfirecon.com, I believe. Wherever you buy your tickets, use drinks to checkout. You get a discount. It's located near Mount Sterling, Ohio at Deer Creek State Park. I believe it's April 25th, the weekend of the 25th, around there. If you can, get tickets, get a hotel room, and spend the weekend with us and a bunch of other fans and fanatics talking about the show and books that drew us all in. So, first time watch on the wall, can we get some predictions from you?
Sure, a couple of them have been spoiled. Sorry, guys. Kinvara is Mel. That's number 1. Number 2, Jorah finds a cure. Number 3, I think that Jon and Sansa take over Winterfell. Obviously, the Blackfish Tully forces will be reasons why they'll get them, and they will get the Knights of the Vale, which I think, what did they have? 2,000 before, 2,000 free folk. I don't know the numbers on these forces, but we have to get up to 5,000 against Ramsay. So I think we're getting there, and all the little other houses. But I think that those two, and I think Sansa will have a big part of getting the Knights to the Vale. I think she'll kind of swallow. I don't want to say, oh, swallow your nut is the worst. Microfinger's the worst. So, but I think she will do it. Take one for the team and ask for his help. And number 3 or 4.
that was 3. Yep. 4.
Yeah, number 4. I didn't write one down. Anything specific? I mean, I guess like
Did you
the
ask
White
for
Walkers
anything?
are.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't. If you have a specific thing, I can go with like the White Walker. They're getting serious. This battle is coming. Like, I
White
think that's a little bit.
Walkers are knocking on the door. Or like
They really are. I mean, I think it's kind of a weak prediction. I think everybody's thinking that, but like, it's happening.
All right. So we're going to go into our house superlatives. We'll go with the abbreviated one today. Glenn, what is your house name?
I'm Glenn of House Dog.
Your house words?
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
Yours house sigil?
Buds McKenzie.
Your bannerman?
House Bannerman. House Charlie of Shell Hughes.
And your Twitter.
At Popsicle Stand.
And your final thought.
I liked the episode, I guess. It was kind of one of your typical run-of-the-mill episode 5 of a Game of Thrones season.
Where Hodor does his thing.
does his thing of season 6.
All right, I am Sly of House McLean. My house words are, it's dangerous to drink alone. Our sigil is 3 gold triangles on a field of red and black. The house bannermen are the Possiers. Personal Twitter is at Sly McLean. And my final thought is, this is a fantastic fucking episode. I love it. Shout out to Hodor. It was all meant for this. So, cheers. Luke, what's your house name?
I am Lucan of House Blackmead.
Your words.
Ours is the drink.
Your sigil.
Obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background.
Your bannerman.
House Charon of Night Song.
And your Twitter.
At Luca Ferocious.
Final thought.
One of the coolest Bran interactions that have been on the show, and just, I mean, it is my favorite storyline, and it's for these types of reasons, the mystical, the mythical, and it's as close to that as we can have without it being deep-seated in, oh, it's religion. It's like, no, this is like, hey, we're dealing with magic here, and they're just calling it magic. Because to me, I think all of the religions are just some form of accessing a magical network of some sort. I won't get too far into that right now, but this is one where it's just blatantly like, hey, we're fucking doing magic, okay? Like, we'll call it the old gods or whatever, but it's just cool, and I like it. And
Agreed. Abby, what's your house name?
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
Your house words.
We don't quit.
Your sigil.
It's a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black up-pointed chevron.
Your bannerman.
That would be House Wahlberg of Wahlburgers.
Your Twitter.
That would be at Go Home Gertie.
And your final thought.
My final thought is, if anybody out there has a theory or explanation of quality of life about Hodor, from Willis to Hodor's final moments, hit me up at Go Home Gertie. No spoilers. So
no spoilers, but
no spoilers.
I
So
think you
up
should
to
be
this point, this
safe,
is why I'm
yeah.
specifically asking here, because you good people at the chat understand my plight. So I'd love to hear some reasonings, even if they're wrong. Like later on, you find out they're wrong. That's just interesting to me.
That's called theorizing.
So basically, we
Theorizing.
want you to go back in
Hodor
history
becomes
to just
president of
after
the United States of
about a
America.
year and a half ago. Go back a year and a half ago or 2 years ago and get us some YouTube videos from back then. All right.
Yeah.
So become a patron to get access to our epilogue episodes and t-shirts and mugs and glassware and all of
Glasses.
our
Are we
season-
Warby Parker?
Glasses. My glasses.
You can get some of the podcast that glasses.
They look like this.
In our merchandise clubs. Learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all the ways you can help keep our beer bank full, check out the podcastthat.com/support us. A huge thank you to the chat as always. You guys keep this so interesting and we love you for it.
All right. Show the same thing.
Barring any scheduling mishaps, join us next week for our special guest, San Rixian. Follow us on Twitter at Know and Drink. Send us digital raven at knowanddrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube. And until next time,
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
as always, winter is coming, and so am I.
And as always, stay imaginary.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, chat. I think I can't hang out, so I don't know if Luke, you were going to do.
No, I
Okay.
got to get going as well. But thank you, everyone in the chat, for being here. Abby, thanks for making it.
So,
Sorry about that. That was. I'm really sorry.
You're good.
I
We
feel
caught
like a
up.
Shithead.
We got your
Thanks.
points. I got the trivia point, so that's
Yeah,
okay.
good for you.
Yeah, and just make sure to hit the notification bell because whenever we decide to stream, we will get it up and going. So
Yeah, and I've started a playthrough of the Telltale Games Game of Thrones playthrough, and I figured out why the fucking sound was all off. It's stupid, but yeah, you'll be able to hear actually the gameplay next time I do episode 2, which will be sometime this week, I'm hoping. So join me for that. Sometimes Glenn's sitting there with me, playing Red Dead Redemption on the other TV in the living room. So check that out. Abby, you could watch that too. You might have a playthrough with everyone doing it at some point. We'll see.
That'd be fun.
Maybe.
Yeah. So all right, awesome. Love you guys.
Okay, good work, everyone.
Have a good one. Happy New
Good thing the
Year.
chat was here to make us better. As always. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And most importantly, stay classy, San Diego.